Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Myself, Raj Baba. I am working as a cybersecurity analyst over here. Today's we'll be discussing on the topic called cross-site scripting. So let me share my screen over here. So first, let us see introduction to cross-site scripting. What is cross-site scripting? Cross-site scripting, is nothing but like you inject some malicious JavaScript code into web pages. This script can steal the user's data. Like if we can get the sessions, hijack the sessions, or we can take over the entire website using this XSS. So, let's try to understand the basics of the XSS. Like injection vectors, like where we can inject it, wherever we can see the input fields or input fields. Like over there, we can inject this cross-site scripting. Like definition, what we can see, like impact of XSS is like credentials, theft, session hijacking, and website defacement. Also, we can do it sensitive users data, everything we can get it from the uh, from like if the vulnerability is present in a website. So input if this is occurs when a user input is not properly sanitized or validated before being inserted into the before inputting into the web page. So now, let's see into the types of XSS. Like we have three different types of XSS. First one, reflected, stored, and DOM-based XSS. In reflector, when you just when reflected, when will be this occurred is like when you inject a malicious code into a website URL, and then if it is reflected, like in the browser's message, then you can call it as a reflected XSS. Stored accesses, like this one will be happen when any website or database like displays stored accesses like nothing but like when any of the script was stored inside a server thing or no, server at that time, like whenever you access the website at that time, it will be gonna like repeatedly for the user, it's gonna show that the error message across the multiple pages. DOM accesses, DOM based accesses. This one will be when the client, like if you can able to change the client objects like object model or anything, like the browser responses manipulation, manipulating the content and behavior of the browser. Uh, like this one will be often vulnerability in the JavaScript code. So how to identify this vulnerability in the web applications? So like this one we can identify like in the search fields, like where it has in the user input fields or otherwise like URL parameters or the web page elements like image tag. Those all elements like image tag and other tags. We can find these type of XSS over there. So some automated tools are also there for finding the weaknesses for the XSS. We can use like burp suite for to automation also. So data flow, like if it is not properly validated in the user input, those all, then this type of XSS XSS will be reflected. So like the defense, like how to define, like before validate and sanitize the inputs, escape the special characters, special characters less than, greater than, and those all these type of characters should be escape. Content security policies, these should be implemented and the leverage libraries input validation and sanitize the input libraries. Like for the large libraries, those all you can use this type of like input validation for everything. Those all. So implementing the content security policies, understanding the CSP, like what this CSP do is allows it will be like web page is like allowed to load or not. This one will be tells to the web page that whether to load that one or not. Implement the CSP address after that, to the response, to your web application responses. All whitelist the trusted resources. You can just, if you whitelist the resources, those are like trusted resources, then you easily, it can be go to your like the browsing website, like there will be no harm to your website or anything. So utilizing input validation and output encoding, like as you can see, input validation, we have to do input validation, like it should be checking like each and every element that while we are inputting as a user, like secure whitelist based techniques, validation techniques, everything. Output encoding, like it should be like a you, even though you we encode the input, input, those all like need not to be occur, like even though after output encoding, those all defense, like complete techniques, robust, and like you multiple layers defense against. We need to implement like a defense against XSS multiple layers. Securing, like we need to secure the third party libraries, like without it, like only the trusted we need to allow, and like we need to check the functions of them, and like we need to kind of like conduct security testing, like vulnerability assessment regularly, and we need to keep on check how our application is responding to particular things. If it is not managed properly, will be like up to date, dependencies are not up to date, we may get some vulnerabilities from there. So like we need to conduct some trainings, like secure code training, like how to code them properly, like without getting any vulnerabilities like XSS or any other thing. Code reviews should be done like before implementing, like before going to the world, like you need to do the code reviews, like security awareness, like you need to implement, help them, like train them in the promoting security awareness for them, like how you do it, those all things, like by explaining the thing, training the people, and the security champions, those all. Like for testing for XSS vulnerability scanning, like we can use some automated tools for scanning, like we can use for at that time like continuous scanning, like otherwise like we can keep the bug bounty program, so that like everywhere like bug bounty programs, we can find it in the Bug Hacker One, or so many websites were there at places. We can give that bug bounty program, so that like we'll be like up to date, so that no vulnerability, like no harm to our website or anything, no loss for the company. Regression testing, like we need to keep on testing like rigorously, and need to do so that this type of vulnerabilities do not appear. So this is all about the XSS vulnerability. Any doubt? So thank you for the session.